Good evening, everyone. You have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving yourself and see what happens. Beginning with this quote, let's accept ourselves as we are and be proud of our being because we are unique and there is none like us. Today, we have a very special guest, Ms. Traci Jeske, who will be giving us some beautiful insights on body image and through her journey explain us how we can overcome every failure and judgments and still stand out as a winner. She is the director of N Vogue Stylist, a top international certified personal stylist. Traci was born and bred in Canada before establishing her stylish Stiletto Sharp brand in Italy, where she has been living for past 20 years. Blending Italian La Dolce Vita with her flair for fashion and style, Traci takes her personal life experiences living in Australia, working in Dubai, London, and abroad, overcoming an eating disorder and her experience of over 30 years in the fashion industry to have women find their unique style, be bold, stand out in a crowd, looking and feeling fabulous in every season of their life. Welcome, Traci.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here today.
Yes, it's a pleasure sharing this platform with you. So we want to talk about the young adults. They are stuck in a coop of body image these days, and they are self-conscious to an extent that it starts hurting their day-to-day life. So what are your views on that, and what would you like to tell them?
Well, I think it's very real today, especially with so much social media. We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and, there's all these filters. Like it seems like we have to filter everything and we're not enough anymore. So when we see our real image of ourselves without filters, of course, then we start telling ourselves, well, I'm not as beautiful, I'm not as great as, or we compare ourselves to what we see on networks or in magazines. I don't know, magazines maybe have taken a second step in compared to what's out there on social, but there's a lot of trolls on social that are hurting our teens and our younger adults, that criticizing them. It's very easy to stand behind a lens or behind your camera and insult other people. And so, it's affecting self-esteem across the globe, and our teens have the lowest self-esteem than they have in the past 30 years. And thinking that social is such a great thing, which it is if used if used in a positive way, but it can also have that second, it's a double knife sword. So I think that what stems from this is also body dysmorphia. A lot of young girls think that to be beautiful or be perfect, they have to have this body, this perfect body, which literally doesn't exist. Nobody has a perfect body, but we see other women or other girls perfect. We want to be like them in the magazines. I've been there. I wanted to be like, those models in 17 magazine, which doesn't probably exist anymore, but it was a cool magazine from the States. And I built up these people as idols. So I compared myself constantly, even if I had beautiful eyes, I had beautiful personality, I only saw what was wrong with me. I never saw the good.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. It is the social media and the fear of judgment all the time. I mean, I think that we never look at ourselves, because when we are talking or when we are interacting with people, it's the others who see us. So it's always that fear of judgment which takes us to this body dysmorphia. And, we always want to be perfect everywhere. But rightly said, perfection does not exist. And it's high time teenagers realize that and get over that pressure.
And like even plastic surgery and things like that have hit, and it's used to be only for older women, but now even young girls are thinking that they have to get, rhinoplasty, they have to put implants in their cheeks or have bigger, it's so not true. When you're that young, you should never, ever touch your body because you're still growing. And so your proportions maybe you seem like you have a big nose right now, but as you get older, your face becomes larger, becomes longer, whatever happens. it's just, and you should never ever have to go under surgery, just unless it's for a health reason. If you can't breathe, whatever, I understand. But for an aesthetic reason, no. I just, I'm so society makes us feel like it's almost normal to do that now.
Yes, I understand. And then it's sad that, teenagers are thinking like that.
Mhm.
Well, you have been dealing with eating disorders yourself, and you have struggled to get over it, and you have achieved so much despite of, feeling worthless in life at some point in time. So,
Mhm.
would you like to share your inspiring story with us?
Certainly, I would love to. So, I, like a lot of teenage girls, became very insecure about my body. And I had started fad diets probably at the age of 12, maybe even 11. And, these diets were really crazy. Maybe I would eat grapefruit for 1 month. And, when you do those fad diets, you lose the weight, but then you put it back on and even more because you're literally starving your body. And I always thought that if I just was this certain number on a scale, I would be so happy. I would find that boy of my dreams. Everybody would like me. And so I kept wanting to achieve this number, which for my body shape and frame was not logical and it could not happen. But I forced my body. And so I felt like I had no other choice. I was very sensitive. I had a lot of emotions like a lot of teens do, but I seemed to have more than the average person. I didn't know how to deal with all that. And I felt a lot of pressure about going to university, having to perform all the time, make everybody happy around me. So to numb myself from all of those emotions, I chose food and I started binging and purging, and which kind of started off as I'll just do it sometimes. That sometimes became all the time. And it became a vicious cycle that I could not get out of. And it lasted for over 20 years. And I had serious health complications due to that. And I just, it was something that I wanted to end, like all I wanted to do was stop, but I couldn't. But I knew that, tomorrow would be another day. I had the strength in me to make sure that my eating disorder never held me back. I had dreams of moving to Australia from Canada. I got up when I was 20, I packed my bags, went to Australia, hit reset on my life, worked in the fashion industry there. I came back home after 4 years, met my husband, moved to Italy, and continued my career in fashion. I never let my eating disorder keep me from doing what I really desire to. And, as crazy as it may seem, you may think fashion and eating disorders are the two worst things in the world, but it was what actually helped me get through those dark moments and times. So, it is a struggle. It's not something, it's like everything we do. We think we play with alcohol, drugs, whatever it is that you think you can use. Once you get in that cycle, it is so hard to get out of. So, it's not a game. Our lives, we have to value our lives. It's a precious gift that we have. So I don't know if that's enough, if you want me to go on or.
Oh, please, please, we'd like to hear the depth,
Yeah.
what exactly, you went through, and what was that one thing that you thought, okay, I should now go to Australia and start it, what motivated you? We'd love to know that.
Well, what motivated me was I kind of always thought, being from Canada and in -50 temperatures, we always dream of the warm and sun and sea. And I kind of thought that maybe moving, the grass is greener on the other side, right? So I thought maybe if I moved, that would be the solution. I would be happy. But I kind of carried my baggage with me, although I was extremely happy in Australia. I have to say that. But, I also hit rock bottom. I tried to commit suicide twice because I just didn't know how to end this vicious cycle. It just was constantly in my head, binging and purging. And I was not happy. I was depressed, but I just kept going, and moving to Australia was like a breath of fresh air. I'd lost my father. I just needed to change. And it was, I think also, I'm very strong, even though maybe I thought I was very weak because I was very sensitive, but I wanted to prove something to myself that I could still do it, even if I had this eating disorder, even if everybody around me, labeled me as sick and mentally ill. I had to prove it to myself and also to others that I could still do this. I didn't have to stay at home and hide. So that was also another big push for me, for myself. And I think that's also why I never gave up, because I just saw every time I took a little step, I could see that I could do it, and the next step and the next step. And all those little steps, even if I didn't realize it at the time, were what freed me after 20 some years, because I took so many. And maybe for somebody else, it's not as long. Maybe it wouldn't be 20 years, but for me, it took me that all those little steps to get to that point where when I was ready and I was done, I just broke free like that. It was something that just came to me and I never looked back.
Yes, absolutely. I understand because, whenever we see that, the goal is far off, that one step matters. And, then you don't see where the goal is, that each step that you take forward is what makes a difference. And it's amazing to see you right here today. And I mean, you're head on, and I feel that it's an inspiration to see you, going through all that and yet surviving and fighting and winning. So congratulations for that, Tracy. So proud of you. Well, you said that, you tried to commit a suicide twice. So there are, ups and downs. There are those low phases in life. So what is it that kept you going at that lowest phase in your life when you thought that this is the end and I can't go any further and I want to die, and you still held on? So what was that motivation that held you on?
Well, I think, first of all, faith. I knew that there was a reason I was here, and I knew that I was instilled at a very young age that everything is figure outable. You can figure out everything. Nothing is The only thing that is permanent is death. The rest you can always resolve. There's no problem too big or small. So I always knew that, and I always knew my love for my family, my love for also thinking of having a family one day, and just not wanting to let the enemy inside win. I was a fighter, and I was not going to let him win. As much as he wanted to destroy me and kill me, I just said I would literally fight in my head and scream. And maybe sometimes I would have to get a pillow and scream in my pillow. I had to let it out, but I was not going to let him win. And I also knew, as far as my fashion story goes, I always made sure that I looked good. And there's such a power in how we dress. And it was something that I knew, if I started to look sick, if I started to dress like a sick person, then I definitely wouldn't be here today. But as long as I kept getting up, getting dressed, making my hair, doing my hair, putting on my makeup, whatever it was, I knew that I had won that day, and I had won in that moment. And that's what just kept me going. I just never gave up.
It's amazing.
And also flipping the story in my head. It's really important because we all get those messages, that comes in, and you can call it enemy ego, whatever you want to call it, but it's always like, oh, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too ugly, nobody would like you. You have to start flipping. And I remember putting post-its around my apartment at the time, and putting them and writing down, like, you're beautiful, your eyes are beautiful, you have a sparkle, and changing the message that was coming at me constantly. Once I wrote it out and saw it somewhere, I would just literally go in and like meditate on it for 5 minutes and just keep saying those little positive things to myself over and over. There's a power of pen to paper. And when you see it with your own eyes and you repeat it to yourself, those positive things, you're planting a seed. So it's like getting rid of that old seed and planting a new one. And you may not see it immediately, but in time, that seed becomes a beautiful, beautiful tree.
Absolutely. And we can see one right here. So yeah, I understand how these positive affirmations help, in a long run. And I'm pretty sure if every teenager follows it, what you are following, writing these positive words for themselves every single day and saying it to themselves in front of the mirror, it will go a long way. So that's wonderful. You talked about venting out, and you said that you used a pillow to vent out. So what is your suggestion that you'd like to share with our youth about venting out? Because that's something very important. And I think that pressure that comes in when you don't vent out leads to several mistakes that teenagers do these days. So what are your suggestions on that?
So definitely, so it could be, but something healthy. So like screaming into a pillow is not going to harm you. Sports, anything that isn't an extreme, if you have to run, even I have teenagers. And so, sometimes I just say, you know what? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? And sometimes they're just like, my one son be like, I have to go running, mom. And he would run. So exercise creates endorphins. Endorphins release, we know that it kind of gives you that, but it's getting it out, whatever it is. Get a punching bag. I even like thought, well, maybe we'll get a punching bag, punch it all out. It's those healthy things that you can do to get things out. If you have somebody that you can trust, that you can absolutely trust 100%, maybe a teacher, maybe, someone in the church, whatever it is that you can talk to, get it out. You need to get it out. That's where it all started with me, is because I couldn't get it out. I had to numb it. So my numbing came from food, which we all know can be alcohol or drugs. So get it out, because it becomes like a volcano that has to erupt. It has to come out somewhere. So when you feel that, whatever it is, pillow, punch your bag or your bed, get a punching bag, go running, do whatever it is to let it out, and find somebody that you can trust. But you have to be able to trust 100%.
Absolutely. And finding that one person, who keeps your trust is very important, because otherwise it can again be a flip.
Yeah, and also it can go onto social media. So that's why I always say maybe an adult, somebody you can trust that, is there for you and is as unconditional. And if you don't, then just, go for it. Attack your pillow, get a punching bag.
Absolutely. So, what message would you like to give our young adults that should act as a motivating factor when things fall apart and they feel that it's the end, and they just want to just end it all and don't move forward? So,
Never the end. It's never the end. Everything you can resolve, anything and everything. There's nothing too big that you can do that can't be that isn't irreversible. Make sure you reach out and get help. And I've also, I just think journaling is a beautiful way also to let things out and be kind to yourself. I think we're so hard on ourselves, especially when we're teenagers, because we want desperately to always be somebody else, and start talking with love to yourself. I know it may seem, how can I talk? We're so angry with the world and our bodies, but be loving and be kind to yourself, and always just take that first step, that little step that you have, that you can do at that moment in time, to just keep going, and just then do the next step. Don't future trip. Don't go in the future and think that you have to do everything, whatever it is. Just what in that moment can you do? Can you call somebody? Can you write it down? Can you scream in your pillow? Just do that one little thing, and that one little thing will lead to the next, and then it'll lead to the next. And then, I am a leading example of that. I have hit rock bottom so many times, but here I am, and if I looked back at my 18-year-old self, something I would tell her, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay.
that's so beautiful. Yes, I think venting out is very important, and asking for help at the right time. Just when you give up, take that one moment, maybe count five and think again about your life, your loved ones, your family who's right there, who would be the saddest if you do something wrong. And just stop yourself, because everything will be fine.
And think about if it was somebody else that you loved that was going through it, what would you tell them at that moment in time? Maybe if you step out of your body or yourself one moment and think about somebody that you really do love, if you saw them in that moment, what would you say to them? And that's even about your body, become a friend to your body, not an enemy, and your mind. So think about what you would tell a friend and then say it to yourself.
That's so beautifully said. Become a friend to your body and not an enemy. Perfect. So, is there anything else that you would like to, talk about and tell our teenagers or young adults who are listening today? Anything that they should follow as a routine every single day, that will keep them going for a long, long time?
Well, I really do think that, it's so important that how you start your day is going to set your day off. So, if you wake up and you're already starting to get those messages in your head and you're stressed, flip it, get the post-it notes out, put them up and start talking to yourself, positively. Negative energy, and always, I think surrounding yourself with people that are good people, that do love you, that do care for you, that are lifting you up and not pushing you down. You do become the person, like the five people that you are hanging out with right now. Think about who they are, what their goals are, how are they, because you will become one of them. It's a fact. Always surround yourself with people who want to be successful, who have goals, who want to do good things in their life. And you know what? Even going out and helping others raises your self-esteem so much more because you feel useful, helping somebody else who's struggling, helping your neighbor. It's so important to go out and help in this world, because then you feel better about yourself, and you will attract that also for you.
Absolutely. So, yes, stay away from toxicity and surround yourself with positive people. That's exactly what will work for a long run. So
Mhm.
thank you so much, Tracy, for taking out time from your busy schedule and being a part of this talk show. I'm pretty sure your inspirational journey and your motivating words would touch many of our viewers, and they will get out or get over the taboo of good looks and body image. The key takeaways from your beautiful talk, what I could, take out is that, there's nothing perfect. So let's stop running behind perfect, and there's always a solution to a problem. So, let's find that solution rather than just giving it up, and try to vent it out with the right people, or maybe journal it, call someone, find someone trusted. And a very beautiful thing that you said is become a friend of your own body, which is very, very important. And, say good things about yourself, positive affirmations, that will always help. And surround yourself with positive people and do positive things. Kindness goes a long way. So I think this is what sums up your beautiful inspirational journey and what you talked about today. So thank you so much once again, and looking forward to a lasting connection with you where we can motivate many others and try to make a difference.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful, blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.